Yes, we are live here, live on YouTube, with our special guest, Anita Tosh, book author. How are you doing, Anita?
It's so great to be here. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Yes, and obviously, like it says underneath, it is Raju, the host. We are live with interviews every week. We're trying every week at the moment to bring guests on board from different areas. And obviously, like the intro suggests, it is about empowering women. And it is that's why it's called the Female Talent Channel live on YouTube. And obviously, we will include stuff on Facebook and Twitter on there, which will keep on promoting the channel. Now, Anita Tosh, we were speaking about, was it a week or 2 weeks ago? I think more than that, actually, about you coming onto the podcast. You've been very busy. I've seen your website as well. And you've done a lot of writing, Christian books, short stories. You've appeared on a famous radio station as well. So you've done a lot of stuff. So how long have you been writing, first of all?
Oh, well, it's a little embarrassing. Let's see. I've been writing. My first book took me about 10 years, but after that, it started rolling a lot faster. My second one only took a year to write, and then another year with all the edits and everything and the publication. And so let's see. I don't know. I guess it's been about between 15, 20 years, something like that.
Wow, 15, 20 years in writing, yeah. And has it started with a hobby? Is it still a hobby? Is it a profession? What would it be?
Well, I was blessed to be able to retire from my. I was a director of a preschool, and when I retired, I was able to devote a lot more time to the writing. So that's when things really started speeding up. And I was with this, especially with this last book that I just published, the Book of Jeremy. That one, I'm able to put a lot more time into promoting it and marketing, and it's going really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these podcasts are something new.
So you're new to podcasts?
Yeah, I've just only done a few. I did some interviews where I interviewed other people for my my Facebook page, and then I discovered the matchmaker where we were introduced to each other.
Oh, right. Yes.
And so that's been going really well. I enjoy that. And everyone has different interests. So, with some people, I get to tell, how I came to God. Other places, they want to hear more about the background of the book. And then here, I guess it's the whole thing where you want to know how I got into writing and things like that. Looks like, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, usually what we do is on the talent podcast, what we do is we just go with the flow, really, to be honest. And it's more like I have a friend, Anu Verma, and what she does is she does it. It's more of a listen podcast, which you can hear. And my started off as a listen podcast as well. Then it became into a video podcast afterwards. Then I thought, listening podcast. I think it'll be better as a video podcast. I thought. Because people can see the artists, and then obviously it was about what is going to be the aim of the podcast, and that took a long time for me to jot it down exactly what will make this unique. Because as you know, there's thousands of podcasts out there now. There's loads of podcasts, and then you have to set apart from them. You need to create your own niche as a podcast, and there needs to be a goal of why you want to do the podcasting rather than doing it for the sake of doing something. And so the aim was to, like the intro says, empowering women in different areas and giving them a platform to succeed, and giving them an extra platform. So it's about women in different areas who have made a difference, who are looking to get into these areas. the ones who are creating news and that kind of stuff in different areas. So
Yeah.
music, writing, every area basically. So that's what it is.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So yeah, what helped me a lot when I was beginning to write, like I said, the first 10 years, it was kind of off and on. And so it was the second after that I really was more focusing on it. And I joined, first of all, I didn't have time to join an artist, a author group of writers in person. And so first I did Fan Story online, so I could squeeze
Right.
that in any place in my schedule. And then once I was retired and I had the time, not everybody has to be retired to do this, but then I was able to join a group in person, and that has been a big blessing. So if you are an aspiring writer, joining a group of writers is really, really helpful. You can encourage each other, you can critique each other's work, and when one learns of something, you can share it with the rest. Which like that's where I found Matchmaker, was one of the other people in our writers group, and so that has been a real boon. It has helped me in many ways.
No, I mean, briefly talking about Matchmaker, I mean, at the starting, it was, I found, at the starting, I wasn't quite sure, is it going to work in Matchmaker? Is it not going to work? Then I thought, okay, I'll try it and see what happens. You got to try stuff and then you see what the result is afterwards.
Right.
And then I tried it, and then, then I got some good responses back. And then I got a lot of people who wanted to come onto the podcast. And when they identified exactly what the aim is for this podcast, and they could relate to it, and they were, okay, I think, I want to be part of the podcast. I want to pay on it. Then it started growing, and obviously with interviews, and now I'm getting a lots of people who want to, get interviewed on the podcast via Matchmaker. So that's really helped.
Yeah, that's great. And if you're interested in more authors, I can certainly tell the others in my writing group about your podcast.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because that's what the aim is at the moment on there. We just need to figure out, obviously, the marketing part of it, which I will figure out no matter how long it takes. And the rest, social media is tricky because that's because I've never been that live on social media. Like some people are live, always posting a selfie, posting this, posting their coffee mugs.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
But for me, I can't do it. I can't do that kind of stuff. And they're always active, and I've got a lot of friends, cousins, and they're always active with these kind of stuff. But I can't do it. It's just not me.
Yeah.
And
but I do have the Facebook page, which works out well for me, and I will be posting this there. So then you'll, have access to all the people that come to that page.
Absolutely. That's a good thing. This part of social media I do like, where I can share stuff, share the YouTube channel and stuff like that, and obviously that will help. Yeah, absolutely. That is going to help. Now, obviously, you've said you've been writing for 15, 20 years.
Yeah, more specifically about 10.
Yeah. Okay. About 10 years, because I don't know if I still class myself as a writer, but my first book was back in 2003.
Oh, you are a writer also. Good for you.
Part-time, but now, because I'm doing this, there's not many other things I can do, because obviously this takes a lot of my spare time when I'm free, because I've got to do this, and obviously the marketing and then speaking to people to get them on board the podcast, that's taking a lot of time. So yeah, so I can't do other stuff. Maybe if I wasn't doing this, I would do that, but though I do enjoy doing this, so I don't mind, honestly. It's great.
It's you have to focus. You have to choose. There's only so many hours in the day. Yeah.
Exactly. You can't do 4 or 5 different things, because if you do, then the other 3 or 4 things will be affected, and then you'll end up not being successful in any of the areas, basically, and which you don't want.
Yeah. that's why I was really happy that I was able to retire early and focus on the writing, because before I really couldn't give it that much time because I had a full-time job, and it's hard to squeeze it in.
Definitely,
Yeah.
it will definitely affect it on there. So, what was your first book which you wrote? Was that a Christian book? What book was it? Or
Well, they're all Christian books. Well, the first one I did that took 10 years, that one was God's Armory. And that one I did a remake of later on when I learned a lot more about how to do a book. And that one came out a lot better. That one's about a little church at the last 3.5 years before Jesus returns, and going through the tribulation and the Antichrist coming to power and all of those things. So that is end time setting, and as well as my most current book is also end time setting, but it is focused on a family and on one individual rather than a whole church.
right.
And it's much more current. It's really pretty interesting because a lot of the things I wrote years, let's see, it took me 2 or 3 years to write it, I guess. Things I put in it, they're happening now, and I'm like, it's like I'm not a prophet, but it's kind of interesting, because you see the signs, you know what's coming, and I'm familiar with the Bible. I know what the Bible tells us is going to happen, and so I wrote these things into it, and then here we are with things happening around us, and I'm saying, my goodness, there it is. We're here already. The Bible prophecies are coming to pass. And so,
right.
yeah, so those, that's where my passion is in Bible prophecy. My first book, though, that I did that was not Bible prophecy was called the Zella Chronicles. That one is about a little girl who passes away early in life, and she wants to grow up. And so the way she does that is that Jesus sends her on what he calls missions to earth, where she helps people in various ways for, just a very short period of time in their lives. Sometimes she just meets them once. Sometimes they never see her, but she is working in the background, helping them to stay on the right path, so to speak. Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's very interesting. Yeah. So that was your team book. So that was your first book. So and this is available everywhere, all online, Amazon, is it?
Yeah, they're all of them are on Amazon. The newest one is also on a few other venues. It's on Apple Books and on Barnes and Noble and Kobo and things like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
So you could go to BookBub, and that you could find all of them there. I need to put all the links on my website. Right now I just have the Amazon link.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, you can find all of them on my website, though, booksbyanita.com. And so that can also direct you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and that's what I was checking your website out just earlier, booksbyanita.com and stuff, and obviously, yeah, it has a lot of description about, and obviously people can leave reviews and that kind of stuff on there. So what kind of feedback are you getting from people, from readers? And
very good.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of really good feedback. The people that have read the books enjoy them, and they refer them to other people. So that's really the best thing, is when you hear someone telling you they like the book, and then they're telling other people. So we like to go on what our friends tell us, and even the reviews online, of course, help us out a lot too. And we can always use more of those.
Exactly. I mean, reviews help, and obviously that builds one's writing confidence. Okay, I'm doing it right, and people enjoy my book. They enjoy my work. Because obviously writing does take a lot of time to write the manuscript, and to come up with those ideas and that kind of stuff. On that, so what was the thing? What was the trigger which inspired you? Okay, I can write.
Well, actually, that was when I had grandchildren, because when they were very small, every time I saw them, they would say, "Tell me a story," and so I would just make one up on the spur of the moment, and I was surprised that I was pretty good, and and other people, like if my daughter or husband happened to be nearby when I was telling them a story, they would just have this astonished look, like, "Where did you get that from?" And I go, "I don't know, it just it just came together." And so I started writing. First, I did children's stories, and I need to go ahead and put those on my website. I don't have them there yet, just one.
Right.
But then from there, then it was again my grandchildren. When they got older, they were in high school, and they were telling me some of the books that their classes were requiring them to read. And one of them I had read, and I was just appalled that they were having teenage kids read this. And I thought, oh my goodness, I could do better than that. And, they need something edifying to, something good to read. And so that was that was where the first book came from. And then, then from there, I was doing stories on Fan Story. And they came in, they started turning into chapters, and it turned into the Zella Chronicles. And then, of course, after the Zella Chronicles, which Zella is the name of my youngest granddaughter, and I just borrowed her name because I liked it and it was unusual. And then my youngest, well, at the time it was my youngest grandson. He said, "Oh, where's my book? How about a book with my name?" And so I knew the name, that I would have Jeremy's name in that book. And then I played around with a lot of different titles. And finally, the book, as it came along, because I write, as they say, by the seat of my pants. I don't plot it all out. I've tried that, and it just doesn't work for me. And so as the story went along, it kind of turned into Jeremy being a modern day Jeremiah. And so I thought, well, in the Bible, it's just the book of Jeremiah, so this will just be the book of Jeremy. And so so that's where that one came from.
Wow. That was that's interesting. Yeah. And so okay, so that's how that you got the name for the book. But what about the story of the book?
Uh-oh, we're
How did
frozen.
how
I missed a little bit. It froze for a moment. Could you tell me
okay.
again?
Yes. So what about that book which he wrote, obviously under his name? How what inspired you for that story? Is it certain thing which inspire you, or is it something you make
Well,
the characters?
part of the beginning idea was that, well, Jeremy in the family is known as being the biggest brat. And and I wanted the story to show this very bratty kid growing into someone mightily used of God, and doing something wonderful in his life that people would not have expected when he was just young.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how the story moves along.
All right. Okay. And so who did you approach a traditional publisher, or was this like an online publisher? And
Well, with Zella Chronicles, I did it the traditional way. I got an agent, and he found a publisher, and it was very expensive, and we don't have like tons of money. So I decided the next time I would do an independent publishing. We had someone at our writers group talk about how you can get all of your group together, your team, get your own editors, your own printer, and so forth, your own art person. And so I did that with the remake of God's Armory. And that was much more satisfactory. I had a lot more control over what was happening with the book, and I liked that. And then with the most recent one, the Book of Jeremy, I was kind of a hybrid there, because I got my own editors. But then I found a company called Book Baby, and they did the artwork and they did the publishing and they put it out in all these different venues for me. So that worked good. I liked that.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That is true because I found that as well when I was doing my first book, and I approached a traditional publisher, and they were charging a lot of money. I'm like, oh my word, this is so expensive. If I
yeah,
keep doing this, I'm not going to have much money remaining, because unless you're a J.K. Rowling writer, or if
hmm
you're one of those high writers who can afford it, uh,
hmm
it's probably best to look for something like you said, something like which is cost effective, or something which you can do and get the editors and or
right.
that kind of stuff is probably best, especially if you're just
Uh, yeah,
looking.
I liked it because I was able to give really a better quality book because I could the money could go to the editing so that the edits the book needs to be really good and polished and easy to read and all of that. You want it to flow and everything. And the editors help you with all of that, as well as just the grammar and the punctuation and that kind of stuff. If anything is messed up, they catch all of that. So it's a nice read for the person reading it. And where with the other one, I didn't have all of that. I just, I was new and I didn't know, and I just had a few friends read through it and catch some spelling errors. So there's a lot more to the editing. And so I was able to do that. They're starting to call it independent publishing rather than self-publishing, because self-publishing is just you write the book and then you have them printed. Where the independent publishing, you
Yeah,
have your team to help you get the book look professional and polished. And yeah, so that
exactly.
worked better. Hmm.
Yeah, so it's probably it's one of those things. It's like when you do something in any profession at the starting, it's
Hmm.
about figuring out all this out, um, which option to choose, and then obviously which is cost effective, and
Hmm.
obviously obviously how to save the money, and then how to get that in front of as many people as you can, which is
Right.
which is a bit tricky at the beginning, to be honest. I found that tricky as well. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, that's um, that's like with the first one, I had no idea, and like I said, since it took 10 years, I just got to the point where I just want this thing published and I want it to be done. It took so long, um, and so, but like with each book, it was a learning experience, and I'm still learning. But
yeah,
I'm learning more about, I'm learning about craft. I'm learning about marketing. My husband and I just went to a writers convention last weekend, and that was helpful in a lot of ways. It helped me see, okay, I'm on track on these points, and I can fix things up a little better over here. So the more you can learn, the better.
yeah, absolutely. It is, isn't it? I mean, yeah, definitely. So in total, then,
Uh-oh, we froze.
but has it frozen a bit?
There. Now you unfroze. Now I can hear you again.
That does happen with this stream. I'm afraid. But the main thing is there any particular area in writing which is your favorite? Short stories, Christian books, or is it like it depends on what you want to write at that time?
Well, there's a lot of things. Like I said, my passion is really Bible prophecy and stories that
Right.
have to do with that. But I also love writing children's stories, and then I like different prompts. I put some work out on Vocal, which is a platform online where writers can post what they write, and they have challenges there and contests, and I enjoy that. They'll like this last one was talking about how the birds. The scarlet macaw people are poaching the babies, and their numbers have dwindled, and they wanted stories about that. And so I wrote, I called it a jungle romance about, and I did research on how do macaws grow up and how do they mate and how, all of these things. And so I was able to weave that into the story, and I enjoy that too. So there's a wide range of writing that I like to do.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's really nice. So okay. So you've written so many books. So how many books have you written in total?
I've written 3 books that are published right now, and then I have my blog that I've gotten several short stories on, as well as vocal and things like that. And I'm working on my next book. It's going to be the next one, the Book of Jeremy. Well, all 3 of my books I have now, I plan on them being the first in a series. And the way that I have it planned, each book will be a companion novel. It won't be going through time, but it'll be happening at the same time, but about different people that you met in the first book. So this one is, the next one I'm working on is about Jeremy's oldest sister, Beth, and what happened to her, which is going to be quite different because World War III broke out on her wedding day in the Book of Jeremy, and so she and her new husband didn't leave with the rest of the family right after the wedding, like everyone else did, and so they have quite a different adventure getting to a safe place, and so that's coming up next.
Wow, that is interesting. And how do you approach the media when you've published a book and okay, this book is going to come out at this time. I need to start promoting the book.
I'm still working on that. I had a press release written, and I couldn't figure out. I found places to send press releases online, but they were all costly, and the one that is local, you can do it for free, but then nobody would give me the name of who I'm supposed to send it to, and so I was kind of at a stalemate. So I'm still working on that part, but I was able to promote it. I actually did my first book launch, and I did that with my Facebook page, and I think it was very successful. I did different games and things for that whole month. And then the week before it came out was more concentrated, where I did interviews with other people and different kinds of promotions. So there was something every day for someone to tune in, I guess, on the Facebook page. So that was exciting, and I was happy with the results there.
All right, okay. So, and have you where do you usually promote? I mean, for anybody who later on will view this, so where do you usually target? Okay, I need to promote it here, A, B, C. Is there like a list? Do you have like a list where you want to promote it on?
No.
Or is it?
Well, it's a lot of word of mouth. There's, like I said, on the Facebook page, there's a lot of people there. And then part of the promotion was that, they would win prizes for different things. And then if anyone brought someone new to the Facebook page, then they would receive something for that.
Right.
And so that helped build. I also have my mailing list, my email list, and associated with my website, and I send out a prophecy update twice a month, and so that is another way that I reach quite a few more people. And in the prophecy report, I also give updates on my writing and what's happening with my books, and then I go into what's happening in the current news and how it relates to Bible prophecy and what we see happening and what we can expect, those kind of things. So.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people, a lot of believers that are on that list, and but not everybody. A lot of people's just family, and they know me, so they want to see it.
All right. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And the feedback you received from family?
Yeah, like I said, very good. I mean, like as a writer, I think most writers are kind of self-conscious, especially, I've got 3 books. I don't have like 40, um, and so especially the first ones, it's scary putting it out there because that's really you're putting yourself out there, and but my family is very encouraging. My daughters, they tell me that, oh, Mom, this is fantastic. I'm going to send this to all my friends, and also my niece with my very first book. I thought, well, she's not a Christian. I don't know if she's going to like this, and she read it and she came up and she goes, "This is wonderful," and so you have things like that. It encourages you, and that's what writers need because. I don't know. Maybe there's some out there that are very confident, but most of us need encouragement. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do. I think that's important because if you're writing, and obviously you want to grow, then you do need that encouragement from people, whether they have family, and or whether they are friends or anyone, or whether they are just like people from outside just want to read your book and they've seen your book, uh, the more feedback you get, I think the more confident you become as a writer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also did some public readings and book signings, and so that's another venue. You want to put your feelers out there and use all of them you can find.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, what's your forthcoming projects? What are you working on at the moment? Are you working on any books?
Yeah, well, I haven't got a name for it yet, but it's the companion novel to the Book of Jeremy, and then I'm also busy doing short stories for Vocal. That's one more way I'm getting my name out there in the public. Just the more people that see my name on the short stories, I think the more chance they're going to find my name. And go to the website and see, oh, she writes books too, so it all goes together. I would like to write also, like I said, there will be companion novels for the other books as well, for the Zella Chronicles and for God's Armory. But the one I'm working on currently is the next one in the Jeremy series.
Okay, Jeremy series. Okay, and obviously, like you said, everyone can. That will be posted on your website as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's there on the website. Booksbyanita.com.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Just to quickly mention, after the end of this interview, audio version will be available on all podcasting platforms. Will be uploaded very shortly on Podbean, Spotify, all of them, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts, and everywhere where podcasting can be found. Now, regarding this, so you've written so many books. You've told about what's and stuff like that. So have you conducted any radio interviews? I think I saw something on your website regarding a radio interview as well. Is that right?
That I was on the radio? Is that what you said? Yes, I've been on a couple radio stations. There's one in the UK. It's called Chat and Spin, and so I've been on there twice. I'll be on there again on the 5th of November. And then there is Sheila Mack show, and she is with she's on 2 or 3 different radio stations, as well as a TV station and podcasts, and she's just all over the place. So so that was nice to be able to get on there.
So how did that happen? How did that happen? Did you approach her? Or
that was again, that was matchmaker.fm. She was
really?
there.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow.
And she responded quickly, and we worked out a time, and there we are.
Yeah. So it shows. I mean, it shows. Just a quick plug in with matchmaking. It shows that there are some certain places where you can get the contacts and the media contacts, and there are people on there. And if you contact the right people, you can get that word. You can get that
It's
promotion, which is good for both parties.
absolutely, yeah, it helps both sides because I'm going to post yours and yours, so you'll be exposed to all the people that I know, and then I get to be exposed to the people that you know and have connections with. So it works out great. I've been really happy with it. I've also noticed that visits to my website have gone up since I've done the interviews, and also book sales have gone up. So it works. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said you're obviously working on a book, and do you have any time skills, or how long one book takes to issue? This book should finish at this
Um,
certain time, or is it just
I just started it, and I haven't set a particular time goal to have it done. I just want to
right?
write some every day. That's the biggest thing, to just, even if it's a little bit, to do something every day, and that gets it done.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So just keep writing every day
Mm,
when you have different ideas about the characters and that kind of
right.
stuff. Yeah.
And then, even when I'm not writing, I'm thinking about it and putting together a lot of ideas on how the story is going to come together. So even times when you're not actually putting letters down on a page or into the computer, you're still working on it. But getting it on the page is really important. Otherwise, you forget. But yeah, just some. I heard one person say, even if I write just 50 words, at least I wrote something. So, and those add up. So I sat down the other day and I thought, well, I'm going to write at least 50 words, and I did almost 500. So I'm like, oh, okay, I think I'm done for today.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's more than what like you said, the more than what you plan to write. Um, on there, is there anyone, any writer, any female writer, something which inspired you when you read?
Well, I was in the beginning. I was reading some books about writing, and there was a woman who wrote a book about young adult. She does YA, young adult books, and I found out there that whenever the book does not have cussing and sex, then it's a young adult, and you can write young adult about anything you want. It just means it's clean. And
Okay.
so that's what my books are. That was very encouraging to me. And she was an incredible writer. I read her books, and I thought, this is a good example. She's doing these things, and I can do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is important to. I think if you read and you've had someone who, okay, it has inspired you a bit, or you've
Hmm.
read them and it's okay. This person good, this female or male writer, whichever, is good, and then you've gone into writing, and you've learned the craft or whatever, whichever way,
Yeah.
and that's helped. And obviously, I think that is like you said. That's something which is important on there. So where can people, if they want to get in touch with you regarding media, how do they get in touch with you?
How can they get in touch? Well, through my website.
On
There's
the
a
website.
place there that you can contact me
Okay.
if you want to send an email or ask any question or anything at all. And yeah, again, that's booksbyanita.com. And the one other person I wanted to mention that was inspiring to me was D.E. Stevenson. My husband and I read her books, and they were her journal, her personal journal. So that is actually one other place that helped me get started writing, because she inspired me to write a journal, which I've got boxes and boxes of journals over the years. And that was one of the ways that I really found how much I enjoyed writing. So,
All right.
yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Okay. That's yeah. That is really nice. And what about social media? You're on. I think am I right in saying you're on Facebook?
Right. Yeah, I have my regular page, and I have my my Books by Anita page. The it's the Facebook group, which is a little bit different. And I put a Christian comic on there every day,
Right.
so that's something that a lot of people enjoy. You know, all the stuff we've been going through the past couple of years, it's nice to find something to smile about, and so I put that on there. And then I also do Christian songs and all kinds of things. But yeah, so I'm on. Let's see, what else am I? I'm on Parlor. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Gab, as well as Facebook. And so I try and post things on all of these platforms.
All right. Okay. So that's so for anyone who wants to get in touch with you, that's email, Facebook, Twitter. They can get in touch on there, and obviously, and that includes obviously any media requests and stuff. What about do you do when you're going to write a book? Do you I mean, obviously not now. Obviously, with what's happening at the moment, with things are a bit, they're still a bit crazy at the moment, with the COVID and all that kind of stuff. Last 2 years, but did you when you wrote a book before? Did you do any publicity or any book tours or anything like that?
Well, like I said, I have done some book signings and public readings, so at a bookstore. That one worked out the best. It seems like when people can hear some of the book, that really encourages them to buy it.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, there was a couple of different book signings where we were allowed in the venue we were allowed to read, and that worked out very well. And I've been considering putting some reading on my website. Also, I'm doing and I'm working on the audio version of my book. It's new for me. I got it all recorded and started editing and realized almost half of the chapters, something happened where I could hardly hear them. So I have to do those over now. but but I'm working on it, and we'll get there. So that as soon as I get that finished and a date for release, then that'll be up on my website too.
right. Okay. Yeah. So that's the in that is a very interesting. So like you just mentioned, people can get in touch via those. You've already had a very interesting writing career, which I'm sure will grow and prosper, and you will get more stuff out, which people will enjoy and write. And just to quickly mention, because obviously, or sooner or later, I'll start getting criticized for doing too many long interviews. um, long duration. But because the thing with this is, I am trying to do a shorter interviews. But what the thing is because I'm asking a lot of stuff, the interviews seem to be going very very long. But the main so the main thing is, I nearly forgot. I think I'm going to figure out what I was going to ask now. But so the main thing is what about other stuff like YouTube and stuff? Do you use YouTube for this?
I do use YouTube, but what I have on here right now is called Bible Bits and Bites, where I do just little. You were talking about length, so I try to keep them to 10 minutes, and those are also on my website.
Right.
But I have those on YouTube, and then there's a couple of interviews I've done, just 2 or 3 at the moment that are on YouTube. So that looks like that's growing.
Right. Okay. And have you had to promote those YouTube videos yourself? You promoted the channel?
I put them on like my Facebook page and on all the other platforms that I'm associated with. So I post
Right.
them all there, and that's what I can do.
So can people who are is it so your book's available? Obviously, the online version. Is it the ebook? online version?
Yes, all of them are in you can get either ebook or paperback right now are the two ways that they're available.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So before we obviously wrap the interview up, is there any final thing you would like to say to the people who will either watching or will be watching this interview regarding your books?
Yeah, I just encourage you to be familiar with what's going on in Bible prophecy right now, because we are living in incredible times. The Bible is really coming alive in our lifetime, and I believe we will see Jesus when he comes back. That's not that far away, so we want to be ready. And I encourage us all to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's very, very nice words you said there, Anita. And like I said, we had planned this for a while. So thank you very much for coming on board our channel, the Female Talent channel. And obviously, for everyone who's going to view the video, please do click on the subscribe button for all updates, because this is going to be one crazy next month when it comes to interviews. A lot of interviews lined up coming up next week, the week after, those next Friday, Saturday, and the following week and the week after that. So everything's booked up. So please click on the subscribe button when you're watching the video. And thank you very much, Anita, Tosh, for coming on board here. And
thank you so much, Roger.
I'm sure there will be women, girls who will watch, who will get inspired by your words, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. God
thank you
bless.
very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. On there, I will leave everyone with a little end, the outro messages, and then after that, and I will be back soon with another interview. Guys, thank you very much once again, Anita Tosh, a very inspiring book author. Thank you.
Thank you.